Hey guys, and welcome to Faith Works Designs. I'm Faith, and today we're doing another exciting sew-along. Kim and Alex and I were all talking about an Alice in Wonderland round that they were going to be doing, and I was like, I think there needs to be like a clock purse. Hi, what you doing? This is McGonagall. Hi, I'm trying to do an intro here. Do you mind? I said there needed to be a clock, and so we kind of got the ball rolling in our minds, and this is what we came up with. So today we are going to be not only bag makers but clock makers as well. So a couple of things. In the kit you do get the outside of your fabric, whatever it is. If you get vinyl, make sure that you interface with Decovil Light. We really want this bag to be sturdy because of our clock hands. Now if your bag kind of like crushes in on itself, your clock hands are going to get kind of messed up and they won't do what they're supposed to do. If you're using canvas or a cotton woven, I know there's a lot of you guys that have done the sew-alongs with those materials, please make sure that you do some kind of extra interfacing on this so that at least the front of the bag is nice and sturdy. You want it to be nice and stiff so that your clock hands can go around. In this video I show you how I make not only the bag with the clock, but I also show you what it looks like without the clock. So if you don't want to go through learning how to put a clock mechanism together, you can just do it without the clock. That's fine. It's up to you, whatever you guys like. But I wanted to show you guys some of the hardware that Kim and Alex threw into this round. Hopefully you can see it. There's quite a few little bits. We got some Chicago screws, and then a nice little nameplate, and then, oh, the roses. The rose zippers. Now, for the bag itself, on the inside, you're going to have a pocket for your clock mechanism, just to kind of have everything away from itself. We didn't have enough space to add any more zipper pockets or anything, but you could add to the back panel, you could add a zipper pocket if you wanted to. But this bag is really, really roomy. Now I've got paper in this one to make it stand out. But it is a very, very roomy bag. It's got a nice wide opening so that you can get in there and kind of do whatever you need to do and stuff all kinds of stuff in it. So let's get started. Alright, so I wanted to show you, I asked Kim and Alex about the interior of this bag, that if you're going to be doing the clock, it needs to be really, really stable. So I asked about their waterproof canvas, and I wanted to show you guys kind of the texture. It doesn't have like that slick back on like a regular waterproof canvas. You know how you have that layer and it's real slick? It doesn't have that. It feels more like, if you watch Lauren Mormy know, it kind of reminds me of the water resistant canvas. At least that texture is what it reminds me of. I haven't tried it with water yet, but that's the next thing on my list. I do want to let you guys know that Kim has to fold this up and then roll it. So if you get your roll in the mail and you're like, where's my lining? It's inside of your rolled, all rolled up. Because she has to fold it and then roll it, you are going to have a couple of spots, I'll post the picture here, where the folds will still kind of be in the waterproof canvas. You can take a pressing cloth and on this side go ahead and iron it down. No steam. Just kind of turn your iron down. Don't stay in one spot. You kind of have to kind of go around the spot you're trying to work out. I found that when I did it without the pressing cloth, the waterproof canvas kind of wanted to like shrink up on itself. So I would definitely get some sort of pressing cloth. Yes, I use my cheese fabric. Just get a pressing cloth and just make sure that you move around and don't hang out in one place because you don't want a bunch of heat onto this. I'm also just going to go ahead and cut these out. I just wanted you to see on the other pieces how I cut them out was right at the edge, right where she left us our little edge to cut the white off. That's it. So I'm going to cut this out and then we'll get to the next step. Alright, so we got all of our pieces all cut out. The next thing you're going to want to do is pick your interfacing. I did Decoville Light on all of these, and then I cut it 1/4 of an inch shorter on all the way around so that the Decoville Light's not in my seams. Next thing you're going to need to do is grab your zipper. Kim and Alex came out with these rose zippers, and they are gorgeous. So you're going to need 2 zippers. And then they also came in with the red zipper tape. Oh, I just thought that was so cute together. And I cannot wait to see the bag done. So we're going to grab our zipper tape. You're going to cut your zipper tape to the length of your zipper gusset. We're going to grab a zipper gusset, and we're going to grab one of our zipper gusset linings. Now, I didn't do anything to the waterproof canvas. I didn't add any interfacing or anything like that. You are welcome to do that. You can back it. Because of the heat situation, I don't know if I would do anything on the back. If you try it, let me know, but for right now, I'm not adding anything to this. So we're going to take our zipper without our zipper pull on it, and we're going to put right sides to right side. So the right side of my zipper to the right side. And also, just like the chocolate frog box one, we have the black side, and then we have this pattern over here. Whichever pattern you're going to put your zipper on, you need to make sure that both of the zipper gussets are on the same side and look the same. So I am just going to clip that. So I've got the right side of my zipper to the right side of my zipper gusset, and then we're just going to clip down a little ways. And then I'm going to take my lining fabric to the wrong side of the zipper, right side of the lining fabric to the wrong side of the zipper, and I'm going to clip that in place, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to sew that at 1/4 of an inch all the way down, attaching our zipper and our lining. Also, your vinyl. If you get the pebble vinyl, it's like 1 millimeter thick. I would highly suggest you guys grabbing a lower or a thinner needle. I have an industrial, and I use a 12 or a 14 just when I'm kind of putting pieces together. Anything thicker than that, you're going to penetrate the vinyl, and you're going to make a lot of holes, and it's not, your seams aren't going to look very nice. Also, you're going to need to take your stitch length to like a 3 and space it out a little bit, because if you're constantly penetrating that vinyl like you do like cotton fabric, that vinyl is going to kind of like crack at the seams. So make sure that you extend your stitches to a 3. After you sew your 1/4 of an inch and you've got your zipper and everything all together, you're going to open this up and you're going to pull that lining back. Now I want to show you what I did on this side, or this one. What I did was, like, you're going to have to top stitch so that your lining and your top fabric is kind of pushed out of the way. But I also like to go down all the way around and sew all the way around on this side, just a basting stitch. I use a 4 stitch length, and then I top stitch and I go all the way around. And so that's what I would encourage you to do. It makes it so much easier to work with when you don't have to worry about the little flaps on this end. Alright, so now that my zipper is all done, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my other zipper panel. This one is going to go on this side like that. I don't know if you guys caught it earlier, but that's what I meant when I said have them go in the same direction. You don't want to have like this one going like that. It's going to look kind of weird. So just making sure that they both are facing the same way. Alright, so we're going to put right sides to the right side of the zipper. And I'm going to clip down just a little bit, and then I'm going to add my lining. My lining is going to go on the wrong side of my zipper. Just like that. And you can clip all the way down if you want, or live dangerously like me and just start sewing. You're going to want to change your stitch length back to a 3. Remember, you had it at a 4 to do the top stitching. Now we need to get it back to a 3. So we got that all done. I have pulled my top over and my lining over. Now what you're going to do is we're going to do just like we did on this side and kind of top stitch at a four length stitch length, just to kind of base those panels together and keep them out of the way. Alright, so you've got it all sewn into place. One thing I wanted to note to you guys, this is the first time that I've worked with Kim and Alex's waterproof canvas. I did notice in a few places it's just kind of not shredding, but like what is it doing? What's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, but my waterproof canvas that I've been getting from Hobby Lobby has been doing the same thing. It just barely does it. But just to make sure that it's not going anywhere, I have been taking a lighter and just kind of going around the edges, and then that kind of seals and melts that into place. So I would recommend doing that, especially on your zipper gusset, just to make sure that nothing's unraveling or anything like that. I don't know what it is. Hobby Lobby's waterproof canvas just started doing that too. It's so weird. So now I've got the little pieces that are 2 by 3. I've got both of them. I went ahead and I made a little line going across. Then I also grabbed some double-sided tape. I've got 1/2 inch double-sided tape. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to meet your line in the middle. And I could not see what I was doing. There you go. On both sides. And then we're just going to sew up and back down. These are our little D-ring holders, our little D-ring straps. So you're going to go down and then back up and make sure that you do both of those. And I've got my stitch length at a 4. Alright, so I have got my 2 D-ring strap connectors. I have got 2 1-inch D-rings. And then I have got my bottom gusset. It's going to be just a plain black side. Now I went ahead and I put like a little cut. I folded it in half and made a little center mark so that I could find the center. I'm going to take one of my D-rings and slide it on like so. Fold it in half like that. And then I want to make sure that it's centered as much as I can. And you are going to have a 1/4 inch popping up on this side. And what we're going to do is, while our stitch length is at a 4, we're just going to kind of base stitch that in place so it's not going to move when we're trying to put the gussets together. And we're going to do that on both sides of our gusset. So we're going to turn this around, grab this other one, do the same thing. And you can clip on each side of it if you're not confident that it's going to stay right where you want it to stay. You can clip it in place until you sew it. Alright, now we're going to go grab the top zipper gusset. Alright, so we got our bottom gusset all prepped and ready to go. We got our top gusset all prepped and ready to go. We've got our lining fabric that hopefully won't fall off the table. Now we're going to grab our zipper. We're going to put our zippers on. So I'm just going to open this up. We're going to take our zipper with the top facing us. We're going to put the left side in first. Or if you have a zipper jig, now's the time to grab it. The right side goes in next. Alright, there we go. There we go. Finally. Okay. So now we got that zipper pull on. We're going to pull it all the way down to this end. And then we're going to open this up. And we're going to grab our other zipper. They're going to be facing each other. So you can, when you open up your bag, you're pulling them apart instead of one zipper from one side to the other. Nope. See, when you're looking at your zipper and one side of your zipper teeth is higher than the other, it's not even. You got to start over again. Alright, there we go. Nice and even. Both of our zippers are on. Alright, so kind of put those in the middle. Isn't that pretty? Oh, look how pretty that is. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our zipper gusset, put it to the right side of our bottom gusset, and I like to do this. I like to just go ahead and clip on each side so that they'll stay still. Now I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to grab, oh, look at that pop of red. Okay, I am going to grab my bottom gusset lining and put it to the right side of my zipper gusset lining. And I'm going to line it up, and then I'm going to clip it right there. And you're going to do that to both sides. Make sure your D-rings are out of the way. Alright, so now we're going to take our stitches back to a 3 length, and then we're just going to kind of sew all the way across there. Now that that is done, I want to show you guys something that I just started doing to all of my bags to make my life easier. I'm going to flip this all the way it's supposed to go. Top stitch across here, right? So what I've been doing is I've just been taking my clips, and you can't see a thing I'm doing. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my clips and line up my lining and my outside vinyl, and I'm going to clip them on both sides so that I don't have to worry about them. Just like I did the zipper gusset, the lining and the vinyl are going to be one piece because we're going to bind the whole thing. And when I sew these together, I'm going to sew it at a 4 stitch length. And it's just going to be basting the sides together, and it's going to be top stitching this side part right here. I find that this makes it so much easier when I go to bind a bag if the sides are already ready to go. So now comes the fun part. Alright, we're at a 4, right? Nope. Now that you've got all of that done, your gusset is one whole piece. Now that that's done, you don't have to worry about anything else. Your gusset is all done. Now we're going to go grab our circle parts and start working on them. But what do you guys think? Oh, that looks so good. Alex did such a good job designing this. Alright, let's go. So, I almost forgot. And I had to pick out some of my basting stitches so that I could do this real quick. But Kim sent me this little bag tag. Hopefully you can see it. Made in Wonderland. And I was supposed to add it to the back, and I almost completely forgot. So, what I thought I would do, I'm going to lay it down and get it as centered as I can. And normally the little feet, legs, this is basically just like putting it in a magnetic snap. I'm going to make the marks here and here because when I put my feet out like that, that's where they were going, was the last 2 in there. So I am going to lay this out and try and get it centered because I think he needs to be a little more that way. Alright, I'm going to take my little marking pen, I'm going to make a little mark here and a little mark here. Then I'm going to put my hand inside because I've already basted the lining together. Whoops. Alright, so I'm just going to poke through just the top vinyl, not through the lining fabric. And I'm going to make a little slit just like you do when you're doing the name tags. Let's make sure everything's facing the right way. Okay. So like that. I'm going to stick it in. And you guys should definitely get these because I want to show you when it's done how it looks. It looks so good. Alright, now we're going to put this on top like that. I hope you guys can see everything that I'm doing. And then you're going to put the feet down. I've seen a lot of people taking masking tape and different things like that to kind of hold those feet down so that they don't rub against your bag. And all I have right now is painter's tape. So that is what we are going to be doing. I didn't think about this earlier. I am just going to lay that right over top of it. I would definitely get some masking tape or some other kind of tape to hold that down to make sure, because it will kind of rub against your lining eventually. But look how nice it looks. It looks so good. And this one I've already kind of done the outside of, and look, it needs that Made in Wonderland tag. It just does. Alright, I gotta go back and baste around this again and get it all connected, and then we can move on to the next step. Alright, so we're gonna grab our back panel and we're gonna grab one of our linings. Right now they don't match up completely because we're gonna have to edit that out, but right now what you're going to do is you're going to base stitch all the way around at a 4 stitch length and then come back and cut off the excess right here. So I've got my panel that I can't get centered for some reason in the screen. Alright, what I did was I laid it out on my sewing desk. Now you need to find the middle going this way and the middle going that way. If you want, you can fold it in half and you can find the middle that way, but I found it was a lot easier by just lining it up with my board and then finding the center and then finding the center this way. Now I did go ahead and just take my little marker and make a mark there. I may even just kind of clip there just so that I know that that's the center just in my seams. I'm not going to accidentally cut my base stitching line. Now we're going to grab our gusset. We're going to do the same thing. So we're going to line up our zipper gusset with our bottom gusset, and then we're going to make a center mark. You can make a snip. It's up to you. Whatever works best for you, but you're going to need to make those notches so that you can meet them up with this. You guys notice that I am trying really hard to just leave the clock part till last. Yeah, I noticed that too. Alright, why save the hardest for first when you can just save the hardest for last? Alright, now we're going to start at the top. So we'll make sure that we've got this top notch that you can't see up there. We're going to turn this inside out like that. We're going to match up our first notch with our notch right here, and we're going to clip. Okay, we're going to start clipping around, and because this is a circle, I would highly recommend you kids coming in the house. I would highly recommend that you clip like your life depended upon it, so that it will go, everything will go where it's supposed to. So I like to clip a few across the top and then move down to the bottom. Find your middles. Here's my mark. There you are. And then just match up and then just start clipping like a crazy person. Oh. Oh my gosh, that clip just broke and went straight into my eye. Alright, so I'm going to rub my eye for a minute. And then I'm going to finish clipping this. And I'll show you what it looks like when I'm all done. This is a little stinker that tried to blind me. Alright, so I've got it all clipped up. I've got as many clips as I want to do. I see a few areas where you're going, because it's round, you're going to have to kind of fidget a little bit and add as many clips as you can all the way around. Now, this is going to be really important if you want it to actually be round. You really need to follow your foot on your sewing machine, making sure that the gusset and the top part are all the same. They're together and you're getting the same stitch allowance all the way around. Otherwise, yes, it's not going to be a circle anymore. It's going to be all wonky. So this is the part where you just really want to take your time. Alright, when I first attached the gusset to the back piece, what I did was 1/8 of an inch all the way around, just to kind of like baste it in place, just so that I didn't have to put as many clips on there. Then I went and I cut a strip of 1 1/4 by whatever the length of my waterproof canvas was. I think mine comes in like 56 inches. And then I went ahead and I clipped all the way around, and I'm going to bind it now. I think I could have used a smaller binding and been fine. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to sew at 1/4 of an inch all the way around. Alright, so we're moving on to the front panel, but I wanted to show you guys. I wanted to show you guys the 1¼ inch versus an inch. I really like the inch. I think the inch is best, and I think that's what you guys should use too. 1¼ inch I think was just too much. Alright, let's grab the front panel. Okay, so future Faith popping in to tell you that I forgot something. When you're working on your front panel, you want to put your front panel down, your lining on top of that, and then your your double zipper panels on top of that. I completely forgot that that's what the extra panel was for. It's so that when you open up the zipper and you open it all the way up, you can see the lining on the inside. So I completely forgot that. Make sure that you add that. Now, if you don't want to do the clock, it is totally cool to not do the clock. I am actually going to make one without the clock and one with the clock. I just thought they were really cool, and so did Kim and Alex and everybody. So you need to find the center of your lines. You also are going to need the 12mm grommets. I got these at Cam Snaps, and I got the 12mm, and I got the 12mm die. So that way it'll cut the 12mm hole that I need right in the center. You are also going to need the grommet dies to be able to smash the grommets into place. So make sure you have all of that if you want to do the clock. 12mm is just the right size for what we're doing. So I'm going to find the center. Be right there. You can take your ruler and you can just go, like I said before, line it up between all of the lines, find the center, and then you can kind of mark where you want the clock to be. And I think for me that's center enough. I am going to grab my Cam Snap Press and I am going to put my die in there. I already have the one on the bottom to help me cut out my piece. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to move this around a little bit. I'm going to put the dot that I made here right in the center part. I think you guys might be able to see this. Hold on a second. Should be able to see that little spring. It should be right where your dot is. Mine is not because I am trying to hold the camera, but I wanted to show you guys that you can see that spring. And the spring should be right where that dot is. So I'm going to go do that real quick. There's my dot. There's my spring. I'm going to make sure that my dot is right in the middle. Hopefully you can see that. I'm going to double check real quick. Yep. Alright, and then squash. And you should hear that noise to know that it's gone all the way through. So you're going to have your female end and your male end. I like having the male end on the outside. I find that it just looks so much nicer with the male end right there. Flip it over and we're going to put the female end. It kind of, see how it kind of indentates like right there? You're going to want to have that side down. Okay, now I've got to switch out my dies. Let's bring her back over. So the male end is going to go on this. If you need a tutorial on how to use the grommet dies, check out Jess Oakleroots. She has a whole video where she shows you all the dies and how to use them. But for now, the male end is on the front of our panel. So I'm going to make sure that that's seated in that little thing, because we do not want it off or it'll mess up the whole panel. So just make sure it's seated and placed in there good. Make sure the female end is right there in the middle. Can you see what I'm doing? Yes. Okay, and then squish. Now, Oh, that was perfect. Okay, so if you mess anything up, chances are good it's going to be on this side because you've got the male end on the front. The female end on the inside, when you squish it, it's on the top. It normally, when I mess up, it's on the female side. So that's why I always put the male end on the outside, and that way you don't, if you accidentally mess up, you're good to go. It's on the back. And sometimes you can, if you haven't squashed it enough, you can kind of pick it off. But anyway, it worked out great. It looks great. Let's go get our lining piece. What you're going to need to do is grab 2 of your lining pieces, and you need to put wrong side to wrong side, and then you also need to line it up on your mat again. We need to find the middle across here, and then you're going to take, and you can either mark it and cut it, or you can hold down your ruler and pray that nothing moves. So now we're going to do that. We've got those pieces separated. You should have 2 tops and 2 bottoms. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take your zipper tape and you're going to want to measure all the way across. Now, I overlap it a little bit, and it's okay. It's not going to kill anybody, but I like to give myself just a little bit extra just in case. So I am going to cut that off. I am going to burn the ends real quick. And then, just like you normally do with like a zipper gusset. Alright, so we're going to put the top pieces on first. We're going to put the right side to right side, and then wrong side to wrong side, all the way across, like that. Alright, so just like we did with our zipper gusset, I went ahead, sewed it on, and then pulled back the front and the back so that we have something exactly like our zipper gusset. I also went ahead and top stitched down along the zipper, and then I went ahead and went all the way around just to make these 2 pieces into one piece and make it a whole lot easier to work with. Now we're going to grab our last pieces, and we're going to right side to right side of the zipper. Clip across there, and then we're going to add the lining piece. So it's going to be right side to the wrong side of the zipper. And we're going to do the same exact thing. We're going to sew across here, turn it inside out, and then base stitch all the way around. So now everything's all done. I've pulled the other side. I have base stitched all the way around. I have top stitched. The next thing you're going to want to do is add your zipper. So don't forget to add your zipper. That would be bad. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to grab your front panel, and you're going to want to make sure that everything is facing up the way that you want it to. So just kind of make sure that we're straight. This is going to go across the center of your panel. So you're going to have to line this up. That's why I wanted you to make sure that the front is this way. So when you flip it over, after you clip it, we'll make sure that everything is right where it's supposed to be. This is what allows you to get to the clock mechanism so that you can change your batteries and all of that stuff. So when you flip it over, it should be nice and center. You can see a little bit of the zipper there. So we should be good. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to turn this over, and you are going to base stitch these 2 pieces together, making sure that all the edges line up. Go ahead and base stitch that together, and then we're going to work on the clock. Alright guys, I am editing this video, and I ended up putting the clock pieces in first, and then putting my front panel on. I would highly recommend waiting to put your clock pieces on until you're done sewing everything together. It was just easier to turn it inside out without the clock pieces attached. So the video, you're going to see the clock pieces, but just wait until it's put together and then put your clock pieces on. Sorry about that. So I've got my 4 points. Your 4 points on here should already be marked. Your top of your zipper, the bottom of your bag, and then the sides where the gusset, top gusset and bottom gusset meet are your side points. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take your clock, and you're going to want to make those sides meet. So we're going to clip all the way around the clock, and then we're just going to sew it just like we did the other side. You probably want to zip up your probably want to zip that up so your clock's not flopping all over the place. You can wait until you're finished with your bag before you add your clock hands, and you probably should. I've done it both ways, and it's not a big deal either way. Alright, so just find those points and then clip all the way around. Alright, so you've got all of your binding on both sides. It's now time to turn it inside out. And this one is a really nice one to turn inside out because the hole is huge. Now, it's going to take some finagling to get it just right. I'm not worried about that right this particular minute. Let's go ahead and grab your clock pieces. Now we need to put our clock mechanism in. The very first thing you're going to want to do is grab your clock piece and then the little black piece. It kind of concaves in one direction and kind of sticks out in the other. You're going to want to put it so that it's kind of facing like that. Now we're going to go in through the purse. So open up your zipper and stick that little clock piece in, making sure that it's kind of sitting up straight. The next thing that you're going to do is you're going to take your washer. You're going to plop your washer on, and then you're going to want to take this little piece, hopefully you can see it, and then just screw it on like that. And if you've got the tools that you can tighten it up, it'd probably work a lot better if you did. Just tighten it up. It doesn't have to be crazy tight. Just tighten up. And that washer and everything right there is what's going to hold your clock mechanism in place. It's not going to be like falling into your bag and stuff like that. That's why the 12 millimeter grommet was just like the perfect size. Alright, next thing we're going to do is we're going to grab the hour hand. The hour hand is the one that has the biggest hole. That one's going to go on first. And it doesn't matter where you started. But you are going to need to push it down just a little bit so that it kind of just feels right. You also need to make sure that your clock hands are straight before you put them on there. If they got bent in the mail or something like that, just kind of make sure that they're going to be straight before you put them on. Also, this is another reason why this piece needs to be as stiff as you can get it. If you're using like a cotton for your outside, you really need to put something else for interfacing on the inside so that this is stiff, because if your bag is kind of like squishing in, your clock isn't going to work. If it's squishing out too far, it'll still work. It just won't look nice. So you want this to be nice and stiff. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to grab your minute hand. That has a hole that's just a tiny bit smaller. So that one's going to pop on there. Oh, I think I got it on there good enough. Alright. Next thing you're going to grab is your second hand. And I'm just going to make sure that it's nice and straight, because this is the one that's really, really thin. So you can get a little crooked. Then you're going to take, it's got a little hole right there in the center. You probably can't see it because it's so tiny. But there's another spoke on the very inside. You're going to pop that on. And it should fit all the way in there. Alright, now you've got your clock pieces all set up. Next thing you need to do, you can grab a battery and just make sure that your clock works. But you can just zip up the inside zipper and just straighten out your bag. And then put your strap on, and then you're good to go. Alright guys, so what did you think? I thought this was a really cool bag. It is really quick to sew. I know circles can be kind of difficult sometimes, but if you take your time and really pay attention to your seam allowance, when I did it the first time, just to kind of have everything together, I did 1/8 of an inch all the way around. And if you have to, you might have to kind of shimmy the top and the bottom together and just make sure those edges are all together. When you go to do the binding, make sure that you're doing it at 1/4 of an inch. make sure that you're using your foot or whatever guide you have to be able to make sure that it's 1/4 of an inch all the way around. Take your time. Circles are tough. And a lot of people have a hard time with them, but if you take your time, it'll come out fine. Hopefully you guys like this video. If you did, you can give it a thumbs up, or if you want to subscribe and see some of the other persons that we have coming. As of right now, when I am posting this video, the pattern for the bag is not out yet, but in about 2 weeks, I think, it'll be released. So I will put a link down in the description when it is out, but we have 2 bags coming out this round, and you guys know that I normally post like every other week, so I didn't want to post 2 videos at a time because YouTube, their algorithm gets all messed up, and yeah. The pattern will be out shortly, so just make sure you hang on. We will post it on K&A Custom Fabrics. If you go on their Facebook page and like their Facebook, you'll see when the round opens. We had a couple of the strikers make the bag. They will be advertising all over the place, and when you start seeing it on Facebook, that's when you know you can go and order your panel. Again, I will leave it in the description down below. Make sure that you check out the next one, because that one is like, I can't wait. I wish I could post a picture, but you'll just have to come back so that you can see the next one. If you have any questions, comments, I know the clock can be kind of disconcerting, but it's actually pretty easy. I will also link the video that I used for myself to be able to watch how to put the clock pieces together, because all these clock things don't come with instructions. I don't know why, but anyway. I'll link that video down below, so if you have problems like I did, you can go down there and you can kind of look and see how it's put together. Hopefully you guys could see what I was doing. Anyway, if you have any questions, comments, leave them in the comment section down below. I get to those daily, and thanks for joining us again on FaithWorks Designs. Bye, guys. Alright, so I said there needed to be a clock. Could you get still, ma'am?